I hope everyone is doing well. Just thought make another market update video, um, just to see what's going on. Mark out some certain levels that I'm watching for, so you're prepared. I did this video I'll put it up publicly. Normally I do upload private videos onto a private playlist, so the guys that do coaching with me or have a monthly membership with myself, they got access to all that. But I will make this one public, so I welcome anyone to watch this video and hopefully take some knowledge away from it. None of it is, of course, financial advice, not financial advisor, just purely my own views on the market, and you can compare with your own analysis and study, and just maybe take some sort of knowledge from this video. We did end August, literally just trading crypto only. I was expecting literally just a 20% gain, because August historically is one of the hardest months to trade. I did talk about that throughout August, that we do get a lot of choppy price action. August is there to literally create liquidity in the market when the market is really quiet. But we did finish plus 70% spot, and then 100% leverage, on average 10x leverage used, and we pretty much did stick to low risk only moves. Of course, if we over leverage, sometimes we can make 400-500%. Spot goes higher, but I always try to keep the risk minimum. But my target was 20% for this month, but literally almost triple, well, more than triple, 70% done for this month. So very solid month indeed. And now we've gone into September. So historically September and October do be the relief months after August, so we should see some sort of bounce hopefully, and that's what we want to get prepared for. Of course, nothing is certain, nothing happens with certainty. We have to take it week by week or day by day, but without further ado, let's get into it. So if we go back, start on the weekly, looking at Bitcoin. So we had that move up this low into resistance, 30.5k. Right, we're wanting that 34k weekly imbalance filled, but of course we didn't get any close above this level. If the all wicks, we rejected off and heavily moved down. So still nothing too fancy. Still expecting some liquidity to get taken below, and then hopefully bounce up higher. If we go on to the daily now, around 2 weeks ago I did make a video when we had this massive dump here. I labeled this volume void over here, also inverse fair value gap, on a daily time frame. So when I look at certain levels on a daily time frame, they often do get respected when tested, and the price was over here, right, when I made that video, and I said that if price does pump, which I expected to do, right, it will get rejected in this zone here, just purely because it's a strong area of resistance previously, because this has been the average consolidation zone, right, between that high and this low. This has been the mean range, so there's a lot of orders sitting here, right. This is where a lot of indecision is, so it's either demand or supply, right. We trade above, it's demand, trade below is supply. So because normally what we would like to see on a volume imbalance is the price get tested in, mitigate, and then move off, but purely because we ripped through it, right, there was a lot of orders sitting into here, so the market reaches for liquidity, and that's what happened. So we literally got the pump straight into our zone. I called a few shorts to some of the members, right. We did the short literally from around 28k all the way down to we closed full at 26k. So literally a solid trade, a pretty like a 6% move on spot, and almost 60 to 100% move on leverage, depending what leverage we were using. So that was the main zone to watch for. Now we've hit that. If you go down to the 4, now the reason what I was expecting was, right, so when we broke low, we were looking at the 4 hour time frame. So we made this swing low here, right, broke these highs, made a 4 hour swing high, then we had a demand area here, right. Then now here, this is where I was bullish. As long as we didn't trade under here, right, we were bullish. Because of this ranging over here, I did say that we could just move off from here or take a stub lower and then move off. What we decided to do was, let me just delete this. So we moved off, we broke that high. What we created was a 4 hour demand zone here, right. So now if we were truly bullish here, right, this demand zone should have been respected, ranged up here and then moved off, right. Because we've taken this out, right, straight through, we did consolidate a little bit, but because this demand zone was not respected, right, this full idea now has pretty much turned very bearish. So mainly I'm looking for prices lower, right. So if you go back onto the daily, what we have now is, actually if you go back onto the weekly, right, another area, the reason why this was a high time frame rejection point is because the previous week that we closed, we created an imbalance, a bearish imbalance on the weekly, right. So if we just and then, right, so price literally went up straight into that weekly imbalance, right, took liquidity, same again into that volume void, took liquidity and literally reversed. That's why I had eyes on this specific point. So in a sense, we've taken liquidity from the top side. Now we need to hopefully take some from the low side, but we can bounce a little higher. Now the main thing to watch now is what I'm looking at specifically on Bitcoin. So if I quickly go over the high time frame, right, where I will start buying alts heavy. I keep getting questions regarding when can we start dollar cost averaging for the long term or for the potential bull market. The main thing to watch for is, right, if you look at the recent data that's been getting released, financial data, they are slowing down the recession. They're going to pause rate hikes for now. Some analysts that I've been reading, myself as well, I predict possibly going towards the end of this year, end of 2023, around November time, we could potentially go hard, pure recession mode, right, until we do not have a proper recession period, right, and then all the markets, including stocks, crypto, other currencies even, until they don't take a big dump and start ranging, right, and we go through a recession period and then hopefully get out of it. Until then, I don't see like a low establishing, right. Of course we could just come down here and just pump off away, but the market will kind of give us a sign just before it does that, and I'll kind of make regular updates in regards to that. But in regards to the like long term wise, I'm still on the sidelines waiting a little. When I do buy certain coins, which I will go over in this video, I do kind of buy two positions, so one for like a short to mid-term kind of trade, and then I'll just keep a very small portion for long term, just in case that just decides to pump and that is the actual low. But 70 to 80% I'm expecting hopefully into this zone, a relief kind of bounce, and then we hit hard recession, and we at least test this 20k region of Bitcoin, because we've literally got a lot of this imbalance that needs to be filled, a lot of orders on the sidelines that probably do get filled eventually. But yeah, so that's like going forward, thinking real long term. Now short to mid term, what we're expecting. So if we look, previous area of heavy resistance, right, flip to support. So this area here is a key demand zone, call it, that we need to see the price sweep into here and potentially move off. So that's one thing I'm mainly watching for. So to keep on is we have equal lows here, right? So equal lows around the 24.8k level. So what I would like to see is potentially, right, at least these to get swept, right? We don't spend too much time here, right, and then show some bullish price action and then move off, right? And then that hopefully is the temporary short to medium term low like we had previously over here. So we had these equal lows here, right? We had liquidity, jumped into the demand zone, right, ranged about on smaller time frames and then moved off. So that's what I'm expecting here, because just before the zone we had liquidity, just before the zone, so we've got this liquidity here as well, we've got this liquidity here too. So hopefully this gets swept out, right? And so this is the main zone that I'm watching for, right? So if you want to copy that onto your charts, so between the 23.8 to 24.8k level, right, this is where I'd start slowly dollar cost averaging in some altcoins for the short to medium. Also look for some Bitcoin and Ethereum long plays as well. This is my main zone to keep an eye on, right? So we can just bounce from here, which I'll explain shortly. But overall, because if we look closely, we've also left some, we literally create some equal lows today, right? So equal lows generally a solid point of liquidity. So if this liquidity gets taken out before we move up slightly, then I'd be watching this zone very closely. Just remove that. So now if we get rid of that because it's been mitigated, similarly just like that we have another volume void here, right? So we had this imbalance created on the daily. If we were bullish here, right, what you would want to see is this candle come in, at least fill it and then trade it off, but literally swiped it straight through. So if you just throw that on, so daily one, just right. So and then if you go into the so that's our volume imbalance. So bearish, so we expect to see bearish price action in this specific zone over here, right? If we go into the 4 hour, right, on the 4 hour it lines up with a 4 hour imbalance here, 4 hour imbalance there, right? So even if it pushes out a little, what we've got is imbalance in here, right? So anywhere in this zone. So potentially one thing that I was watching for was because normally a swing high, right, this looks like a swing high formed. It's a 3 candle pattern, so normally you get the middle candle trades higher, then the 2 candles on the side trade lower. If you look closely, this candle literally trade lower, so potentially this could be a fake swing high. Now the thing was, right, if this 4 hour demand was respected, I was targeting this 27.5k level to get taken out, but purely because we've literally hammered through this 4 hour demand, right, to me the price action looks bearish now, right? Of course I would short blindly in here because we're still towards like a potential temporary short-term bottom, so it doesn't make sense shorting in a discount range. But if the price does get up into this zone, right, I would expect some sort of rejection back down, especially if something like this happens, right? So like I said, we've got that liquidity in this zone at 24.8k, but then the closest liquidity we have are these equal lows that were made, right? So let's say that we just push up from here, right? I'd be looking for maybe on a 1 hour to 15 minute confirmation for shorts, right? and then I would target this equal lows over here, right? So if we pump up from here into there, I won't be buying any altcoins because I'll know there's liquidity lying lower, and then take a stop down. If we are to switch bullish, then we probably trade over this 28k and start ranging, and then push 29. If we reclaim 29, then we push higher, but I don't see that with all this liquidity lying lower down here, right? The reason why also weekend is coming, so a weekend you can have some scammy moves on Bitcoin. If you look on the daily, right, so depending how this daily closes an hour, if the daily closes above the previous day low around 25.6, then potentially it would also create an imbalance on the daily, right? So then if it closes like this, it's closed as a sweep, taking out all this liquidity. If we do get some confirmation on the 1 to 4 hour time frames, then this could over the weekend chop around, maybe push into here, get some liquidity, and then slowly move down in the week, take all that liquidity down, range for another maybe week or so, or a few days, and then hopefully form a bottom in here and then shift off. If this goes straight down into here, if you see a fast momentum like this straight down into this zone, I'll definitely be looking to add some positions to altcoins. So currently the eyes are on this daily. Then we also got a new monthly open. So if we look, the previous month closed absolutely bearish, so this close I'm still expecting the price to go into our 24.8 23.8k zone. So we'll just mark our monthly open now, because monthly levels are the ones that are respected and also act as key resistance. So if we just get horizontal line, monthly open just under 26k, and then just label it SEP. Right, that's that. And then if you go back onto the daily, so just by doing that, right, just by doing that, we can kind of see between our May, the key 29.2k level, and our September monthly open, we can see a pretty range, right, pretty decent range we've been trading in, which also links with this range here. We had a manipulation move, claim the range back up, so hopefully, right, this range we have the manipulation a bit lower into here, right? So we either look for two things. If it gets into this zone, we want a reclaim of them equal lows, 24.8k, or alternatively you can just wait for a safer bet, which is reclaim the September monthly open, right, and then you can target 29 and 30.5 and then 32k in general, right? So this is why I also like to mark out monthly levels, especially monthly open and monthly closes, because when you put them on your chart, you'll see how price is reacting to that certain level, and it shows you where price is potentially going to go next. So literally a clean range we've got ourselves over here. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, on the daily, if we close like this as a sweep, going into this zone here, I would look for some confirmation of shorts, and then we go down, taking out this liquidity, right? That's the plan going forward. If that happens over the weekend, good. If not, going into next week. I don't see how, because we've come down past this 4 hour demand, I don't see how we just leave all this liquidity and just fly from here. In my opinion, any pump up will be probably a higher probability setup for a short, taking out this liquidity, right? So that's with Bitcoin. Of course, everything else will follow Bitcoin. Then if we look at Ethereum, you just literally want to wait for what Bitcoin does, and when you buy Bitcoin, you literally just buy Ethereum as well. So with Ethereum, like when that Bitcoin equal lows we had at 24.8k, with Ethereum we swept those, right? We swept those, and we went straight into an area of demand. So with Ethereum, it kind of looks cleaner, but because Bitcoin is lagging, Ethereum won't really move as of yet. So if we probably could get the 1500s in Ethereum again, right? I don't think we go all the way down to like 1400. We possibly could, depending how low Bitcoin goes, but with Ethereum, it's kind of like low risk in general, because I'd probably wait for this 15.50 low to get taken out, probably swept. Right, then we have all this massive area of demand. Yeah, we've got all this here, literally this zone, and I look for some stabilization here, along with Bitcoin stabilizing, and then move up, and then hopefully this swing low at 1350 holds, right? We don't really want price to go anywhere lower than that, because we've taken key liquidity here, then we've got liquidity built up above a zone, literally just like Bitcoin, then move off here, and then just go off. So I'd watch 1550, that low to get swept, hopefully price to come down, stop lower into the 1500s, 14 to 1500s, we find some sort of range, a bullish shift there, and be happy to buy some Ethereum over there, right? Obviously I'm not going to blindly buy in the zone, want some kind of confirmation. The guys that do coaching with me, etc., you know well what strategies are used, also help you learn your own strategy, so you know what to look for in these specific zones. So that's that. And then some like I said, so in Bitcoin, if we take that stop low, go into there, what I'll be adding is definitely Solana. So previously we had this breaker here, this flip zone, we've traded it pretty much off this level here, right? We took some profits along the way. Initially when we were down here, we did buy Sol. You can see my first DCA I put into my group around 13, sold some along the way. I hold a small position now to back to dollar cost averaging again, but literally when we're not really investing for the long term, the short to medium trades, we have to be kind of efficient, and we use that profit to put on the side, and when we actually go to invest heavy, then we know we're risking a lot of mainly profit, so it's less headache, also less stress. So with Solana, like long term wise, I think we see, if you go onto the weekly time frame, I think we see down here again, use this as liquidity, right? So we should get about the 10 to 13s, but this is where I think when if hopefully we get, it's not good obviously for living crisis, but for the market, go into some kind of recession, we get them really low prices, that's where I'd be sweeping in. But for now, the short to medium term play, obviously comparing with Bitcoin, if Bitcoin does what it needs to do, then altcoins will have a very strong bounce. So if we look here, pretty much we have this swing low over here, we have a daily imbalance down here. So with Solana, because it kind of holds pretty well, I don't really see it going all the way down back to 16, 17, but with Solana, I'd probably wait, let Bitcoin go into that zone, that 24.8k, sweep that, right? As soon as it taps in that zone, see where Solana is, and then just start dollar cost averaging. Like, I think it's pretty solid. Maybe this gets used as liquidity, 18, but I'd be surprised if it goes below 18. Like, I'd definitely buy at like 16, 17. Then you know, if it drops below 15, right, back into this area, then you know it's to get out, then it's going way lower, because we have this low as liquidity down here. But with the altcoins, I'd probably wait for Bitcoin to take that stub into our main zone, and then we start dollar cost averaging. So Solana's one. So Pepe is one that I've literally we made a killing of recently, but because of bad news, it's literally just been getting killed. But if you see some sort of stabilization, like I'd probably just play the range. Look on a 4 hour, if we start reclaiming above 0.8, we start ranging above 0.8, then I'll target the 100 to 105 level, because even though it's had some pretty bad news and just been shitting, it's pretty strong meme. It has some solid bounces. I'd just risk a small amount of profits in this one. I wouldn't go too heavy. It's just the lower cap risky ones can be worth the volatility, right? So same again, I'd wait for Bitcoin to take a step down, but I'd ideally want to see some stabilization here. Let's say if the price doesn't go way lower down, starts ranging here, right? On a 4 hour time frame, by the way, starts ranging here. You know, I'd want at least this low, high gets taken, comes back down, starts respecting that zone, and then probably look to get into this area here, and then your invalidations are if it breaks down below there. That's what I'll be watching on Pepe. So you can mark out them levels, set alerts, but like I said, the main thing to keep an eye on is Bitcoin. What Bitcoin does, everything else will follow. Another one was so Dodge. So look on the weekly. So this pretty much looks very similar to Bitcoin. So on the daily. Yeah, so we tried shifting bullish. So this looks very similar to Bitcoin. So here Bitcoin gets into that level. We hopefully this chips into like 0.6, and then we can target 0.78, 0.8, the strong previous supply, right? That zone over here. That will net a decent move. Yeah, around 20-25%. So with Dodge, that's what I'm looking for. Bitcoin to take a step lower. I'm looking to get some Dodge as well. We have some equal lows, so hopefully I don't see it going back below 0.55. But if it does, then we have this low on 0.53. Let me just zoom out a little, see what do we have. Yeah, so we're pretty bottomed currently right now. We had all this trendline liquidity. We took that. Yeah, we took that here. So potentially anywhere in this kind of bottom zone, once Bitcoin dips, and if this is holding pretty strong like this, right, just below here, around this zone, around the 0.58, 0.06, I'd get some exposure over there, and then we can always get some more back in once we start seeing some bullish price action. But like Solana is the one that I'd be more confident in, like where you can put a bit more capital. With Dodge and Pepe, so Pepe is like the least amount, like throwaway money you put in there. Then we have Dodge, and then also we have because generally, right, if Bitcoin does that little short-term drop, pretty much any altcoin you buy is going to make a move up, so you're profiting off really anything. I'm just trying to pick like the best ones. So same again, I think we're pretty much bottomed on right, okay. So with AVAX, yeah, pretty looks decent, so I'll just get rid of this. Right, with AVAX, what to keep an eye on is these two weekly equal lows, right? I think that will go hand in hand with the Bitcoin, right? So we take this sweep out, have area of here. So yeah, I'd watch Bitcoin, what Bitcoin does. With AVAX, I'll have set alerts at around 9 to $9.3 level. Sweeps them lows, right, ranges. So does Bitcoin. Bitcoin moves up, comes back down, holds it as support. Hopefully the same for AVAX here, and then we can ride the move up. So with AVAX you have two options, right? Wait for Bitcoin to go into that level, and then hopefully with AVAX these lows will get swept, and then once you see some stabilization in that zone and Bitcoin starts pushing up, you get into AVAX. Alternatively, right, you can wait for AVAX to sweep these lows, right, and then want to see some kind of range, and then move up with decent volume, reclaim back in this 9.3 level as support, hold it as support, and then that'll be your trigger to get in, and then you move off, right? So that's what I'm watching for on AVAX. Link, so Link is one of the favorites because it's literally like bottomed. So literally with Link, right, so we have literally this heavy area of support all here, right, and then we've got the slowdown here. So same again with Link. What I'm focusing on is I probably see this 5.6 low getting taken out when if Bitcoin does that stub lower, right? So this 5.6k set alerts there, that's the liquidity draw, right? That gets taken out, and then we have area of daily demand, right, in this zone here, right, and then we've got fair value gap up here. So basically anywhere between this 5 to 5.4 zone, I think, so it looks very similar to Bitcoin as well. So that's what I'm waiting for on Link. I'll go very heavy on Link personally. I'm not saying you guys do the same, but generally in this area we can have some equal lows here at 5, right? If Bitcoin does take a stub lower, but then we're taking out 4.7. But invalidation is you buy in this zone. If it goes under 5, right, you know it's to get out, because then it's going way lower and then you can get back in. But with the Link, literally being patient, eyes are on this low at 5.6. That's the liquidity draw, right? That gets taken out, Bitcoin goes into its zone that we're expecting, forms a range, and then this is the target where we need to buy, or where I'm looking to buy in personally. So we've got Sol, Dodge, Solana, Pepe, got Matic, not really a fan. Like obviously if you guys got anything that you've been looking at, because I'm literally looking at a lot of different markets, because I trade pretty much every market, so it gets difficult to kind of spot the coins, especially the low cap altcoins, because I try to pick the bigger caps as they're a bit more safer. If you look at PYR, so gaming on this PYR, go into the daily. Right, yeah, so this one is like pretty much like bottomed. Like you've got this massive accumulation leg, right? What normally happens after a massive accumulation leg, I mean, you know what happens, we get some sort of expansion move higher, right? So the upside potential on this is absolutely crazy, but on a long term, what I'm watching for is like the best ideal thing for this would be, because we've got all these equal lows down here, right? So something like a manipulation leg, right? So we got a leg down, accumulation, then we get a manipulation leg, right, taking all these stops, right, getting all this liquidity, right, range, go back in the range, reclaim your support, that would be a trigger, and then we literally play it for the upside potential, right? So that's the main thing to watch on PYR, but up until then, I'd watch Bitcoin, let Bitcoin go into its zone, right? Then we see where PY is. Probably guess it'll go around maybe just under $3, right? And then we can get in, and invalidation would be around 2.6, $2.7, because if it goes down there, then we're probably sweeping lower down, right? So most things, it's a matter of rewatching this video, marking out your levels for everything that I mentioned. Also, like if you're looking at other altcoins that I've not mentioned, mark out key lows, right, key support levels, and then wait for Bitcoin to drop into that zone that we're waiting for. If it shows some sign of bullishness, right, then you know, okay, I can maybe get 30-40% worth position starting into that thing, or into that specific altcoin, and then if it pumps, take some profit, or you can also get back in and then ride it out as high as it goes. Yeah, but main thing, we'll go back to Bitcoin. So on a high time frame basis, the short to medium term bottom we're looking for, where I'm confident in buying altcoins, is in this 23.8 to 24.8k zone. And we've got our easy liquidity lying here, right? So price will stab into here, look stabilization, and then we should be ready to make a strong move high, right? Then if you obviously don't know what strategies to use, or you're not in with my coaching, the obvious things would to be expect for is you want to drop down to like the hourly chart, maybe let price take these equal lows, right, and then mark your equal lows, 24.8k. So let's say you want to look for a sweep, right? You don't want to look for an aggressive move down here into here, because then the price is going lower. You want to see something like this sort of fashion, or having a support, then it bounces off a little, right? Or even similarly like this, a quick stab in, we start closing a bit higher, reclaim a zone and move higher. So what you would watch for is 24.8k to get swept, then 24.8k to get reclaimed as support. Then that possibly could be your trigger. Alternatively, the other safer trigger would be let price do what it wants into here. The moment it reclaims the September monthly open, right, then that's your trigger to get into things. Of course, you might miss the actual bottom, but it's still a little safer, and potentially it could be a bullish flip, and then we play the range to the range highs, right? Alternatively, with there's 36 minutes left, this candle close like this, potentially we could have some sort of weak end pump. So any pump we have, what we're watching for is this zone here, right? If we get some kind of bearish confirmation for a short setup, I won't be hesitant to take it and then play it for these equal lows over here. So we have both scenarios tagged. One scenario for the short setup, we're not really going to pay attention to alters, mainly for a Bitcoin and Ethereum setup. But if we get the other side first into our discount area, then that's where we look to deploy some capital and hopefully ride the wave up. Of course, if this level fails, then it looks extremely dangerous. I'll do an update if that does, God forbid, if that happens. But even on the weekly, you can see, right, simple liquidity there, and then we've got our weekly demand. So tap into that demand. So literally from the weekly all the way to the 4 hour, this zone lines up perfectly. And when you're trading, especially investing, whether you're longing or whether you're shorting, you want high time frame linked with lower time frame. That's your high probability trade setup, and that's what it's looking like at the moment. Yeah, so that's the levels. Mark them out on your charts, set alerts, and let's try smash September. Same as stock market, I was saying expected some sort of rally, but back here I was saying we're going to reject massively. We made a massive move down, right, and then trade it back up again, and then now we're approaching some set of equal highs, but I'll leave ES for another video. But stock market right now pretty much still in a stage where it'll have its little rallies up and down, but not worth buying any stocks for swinging, right? That would have been down here, right, not up at resistance levels. Crypto literally gives the volatility, so that's why we continue playing and participating in it. And whereas the stocks are just not worth the risk to reward. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm watching for. Hope the video was helpful, and if you want to approach me for any advice or any of the coaching, etc., I'll leave my Discord tag in the description, so if you want to reach out to me, you can do whenever. So yeah, hope everyone has a good weekend, and see you in the next one.